This is the spade bit that I made in my last video, and you can see here that I used it to countersink this hole for the washer and rivet. I also used that bit to drill these holes for these dowels to hang my belt sander belts. So on to today's fun. I've been helping friends and family to fix and sharpen their knives. This blank here, I shaped it from another knife, just an old IKEA knife. It's more than likely that this is a 400 series stainless steel, which is high chromium and has a decent amount of carbon and is magnetic. So I've been experimenting with creating faux pattern welded looks, and so I want to try something today on this blade and see what results. When I was walking in the hills outside of Taipei, I came across a bunch of clay, a bunch of rocks that have a very high amount of clay, and you can even see bits of iron in there as well. So I want to take this and make a sort of a slurry, a paste, and apply that in various ways to the blade and see if I can get sort of a pattern welded look, or maybe it'd be more sort of a Hamon on a Japanese blade, that sort of style. I need to take a few seconds to thank Stephen Watkins and Kevin Fedig for their recent donations to the channel. I also need to thank S. Wilcox for becoming my newest Patreon supporter. It's because of guys like you that I have time to do silly things like this. But seriously, thanks a lot, fellas. So again, this is probably more of a differential hardening kind of a thing, using the clay as an insulator. Though I'm not actually going to bring this up to a very high temperature and quench it, just to a very low temperature and quench it and see what results. This is maybe not a really out there sort of idea to create a pattern on a blade, but I have a couple of other ways that I've been experimenting with that are definitely out there, and I'll show those at a later date. This is a martensitic or magnetic stainless steel, and for the time being, I'm not going to worry about it losing hardness from leaving it in the fire too long. So it's definitely created some dull, splotchy areas that resemble a pattern. Let me get it cleaned off and examine it further. I maybe went a little heavy with the clay, but it's definitely interesting. It's got a kind of moss hanging off a tree in a swamp kind of look. So I want to have another go, but first I'll buff this and see how well it holds up. It's actually pretty hard to remove. I'll use this old 400 grit belt to polish it up again. it takes a lot more effort to remove than I initially thought. So I apply the clay this time by dabbing and not by using brush strokes. So let's say you have a carbon steel blade and that you've annealed it and now you've polished it. Well, then I would say you put your clay on, put your pattern on, let that dry, and then get your blade into the forge, get it up to critical temperature, quench to harden. That would be the proper steps to take, I think. But I've also noticed that it doesn't take much heat for this clay pattern thing to work. So another way might be, let's say you finished your blade and you've hardened it. Now you've polished it and you apply your clay, and then you want to temper now the edge back. So you just apply some heat, maybe to the spine end only. And you might do that by resting the spine on a heated block of steel. Once you get to about a straw color on the edge and then quench, I think that would have been enough heat for the clay to have worked. I can already see that this has more of a pattern welded look. So I finished out this knife. A small piece of guava wood for the handle with a couple of copper pins. So the pattern is really prominent right in this area here. So I know this is not pattern welded and it's not Damascus, but maybe I should just call it Damascus. So maybe this can help you guys out there who maybe like me don't forge weld in any great capacity. I appreciate everyone who watches my channel. I'll catch you guys next time.